Good morning. It's Friday, September 26th. Better breakfast day. Ooh, the BBD. I don't know. I guess something about protein, I would assume. Eggs? What am I supposed to do here? And now the news. Let's start with the news that former FBI Director James Comey has officially been indicted. I talked about this a little yesterday when it was political hot goss, and now it is political hot reality. He is being charged with lying to Congress 77. No, this is such a dumb joke. I loved it when I wrote it. I felt so confident about it. Cracked me up when I was writing it. Now I'm looking at it, and I don't know why I thought it was so funny. He lied to Congress, he's being charged with lying to Congress 4 years and 361 days ago, give or take. I think there was a leap year in there. That number is so specific because they really snuck this one in under the wire. Prosecutors have 5 years from the day of the alleged crime to file charges. Comey testified to Congress under oath on September 30th, 2020. This all ties back to Russiagate. Because Trump does so many crimes, because his dad never once was like, hey, slugger, it's okay that you got a C on that test. You're still a winner in my eyes. Let's go have a slice of pizza and talk about the day. You might not remember the particulars of this particular crime. Fear not, I am here. You're welcome. You are welcome. I'm insufferable. It's Friday. I'm sorry. I hear it. I hear that I'm insufferable. I'll continue to do it. I'm not going to change anything, but I hear it. It all stems back to the 2016 election. We were different people then, when an October 2016 article in the Wall Street Journal talked about the Department of Justice's investigation into Hillary Clinton's email use, which was big news then, because at the time, we didn't, and kind of still don't, understand how email servers work, and more importantly, between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, this was the biggest crime that we were aware of. Think about that for a while. Let that be something that you think about for a while. The year was 2016, and the biggest crime, this was before the Access Hollywood tape had come out, the biggest crime that we were aware of between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump at a national level was something about Hillary with her emails. So this article comes out, and it is clear that there is a leak at the Department of Justice. Everyone assumes that it is Comey, and he has testified that he didn't do it. You're going to remember that story in a minute. We're going to circle back. It's important. Then along comes Russia. In that whole email situation, Trump started riffing in front of a crowd one day and says, Russia, let me see Hillary's emails. And like magic, emails. So people started wondering, are you working with Russia? That's important to know. So James Comey was like, hey, I'm going to dive into that, but first, let me just real quick let the world know that I am reopening Hillary Clinton's case. Not really. I'm actually investigating Anthony Weiner, but his wife is Hillary's assistant, so I'm going to need to dive into her emails, which means I'm going to also open some of Hillary's emails. And I'm going to make a whole press conference about it and sort of make it seem like I'm investigating Hillary more than Anthony Weiner. And even though our country has a lot of big problems and we are deeply broken, so there are a lot of reasons that Trump won, Comey having that press conference didn't help. That's for sure. So let's cut to 2020. As a reminder, James Comey has already testified that he did not know about the Wall Street Journal leak. But now it's 2020, and Tedward Cruz asks Comey to testify again and says, hey, back in 2017, when you said you did not authorize that leak to the Wall Street Journal, do you still believe what you said? Because apparently, 3 months later, Andrew McCabe, who was the deputy director at the time, said that he knew about the leak. So wouldn't you have known about the leak? And in 2020, Comey said he didn't know about the leak. But it sounds to me like that McCabe fella did, so someone should have asked him about it. And now here we are in 2025, and with everything going on in the world, the charges being brought against James Comey are, did you lie in 2020 about maybe lying in 2017? That is what is happening right now. We have this one wild and precious life. Some people choose to be doctors, some are artists, and some are Tedward Cruz and grow mullets and beards they don't deserve and are so disliked at their job that Lindsey Graham once said, quote, "If you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody could convict you," end quote. And still, somehow, he makes this decision to do this with his life. And I just think it's neat that we all make interesting decisions about what to do with our own personal lives. We have to hold two thoughts in our head at the same time here, because listen, those that have been listening to this show for a while, and by for a while, I mean this episode for a while because it's already too long, and also for the last couple of years that I've been doing it, know how I feel about James Comey. And sure, I do wonder sometimes if James Comey ever wakes up in the middle of the night and thinks, what if I hadn't done that press conference? And yes, Karma is a Taylor Swift song, but prosecuting political enemies is bad. Full stop. It is a scary road to go down. We are already going down a scary road. I am easily scared. I don't want to go further down a scary road. But we're in the car and the seatbelts are stuck because we stopped short and now they're doing the thing where there's no give and the doors have the child lock on. Because also on Thursday, Trump issued a memorandum from the Oval Office to further investigate any group that he considers to be supporting what he calls, quote, domestic terrorism and organized political violence being perpetuated by radical, politically motivated groups, end quote. And when the press was like, yeah, who did it? Who are we after? Certainly people on both sides, right? I hear some dude with long ties organized a whole insurrection. We got to investigate that a little further. He said, George Soros and Reid Hoffman. Quote, if you look at Soros, he's at the top of everything. He's in every story that I read, so I guess he'd be a likely candidate, end quote. Yeah, I bet he is. You are not a well-read man. Famously, you are not known for hunkering down with a good book after a long winter's day. Was he in a story that you read once, and that was every story you read? That'd be like if I said Kelly Clarkson is the only singer doing music right now. Sure, yeah, that's because I keep hitting repeat on Why Don't You Try because I really want to nail it for the next karaoke time. Does that mean she's the only singer in the world? In my eyes, she's one of only 2 singers in the world. But that's just because I have taste. Doesn't mean that there are not other singers in the world. Just means I'm not going to listen to them. Reid Hoffman is also a known, very big Democratic fundraiser. He's also a podcaster. And if you don't know him, good. Don't know about any other podcasters besides me. I want to remind you in this moment that Trump has already designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist group. Antifa is not a group. It is a vibe. There is no leader of Antifa, which means that he can just decide this person is part of the group. And that means that he can decide this person is funding it. And that means he can decide now we're going to investigate this person, this group, whoever. Prosecuting political enemies is wrong. A lot of people on the left don't like Comey, but that does not negate the fact that we should be outraged. The moment we stop being outraged is the moment that all of this is just fine. So now we have come to this moment where we have to stick up for James Comey, my greatest test of all. Just something to note, next week, hundreds of, I don't know how to, I'm sorry, hang on one second. It's Friday. I'm really feeling like a Friday show here, and I don't know how to transition between, political enemies, and this next story, but I was feeling all loose in that last story, and now this story is just facts. Just something to note, next week, hundreds of U.S. military generals and admirals from all over the world will gather at a Marine Corps base in Virginia after Pete Hegseth ordered the meeting, but did not tell anyone why. And I'm sure everyone feels good about it. Hegseth being super qualified for his job and very measured in his decision-making. Usually you get someone on deep background giving a hint about what is going on here. No one is spilling any dirt. We don't know what's happening right now. When we know more, we'll know more. Just something I want to put on your radar. A few more details have been released about Wednesday's shooting at the ICE facility in Dallas. According to a note left behind, the shooter wrote, quote, "I want to cause terror." Mission accomplished, I guess? I don't know. I'm hesitant to release more information that has come from Kristi Noem, mostly because the official Department of Homeland Security Twitter account blamed the shooting on the rhetoric of, quote, the far left. And it may be that the shooter was far left, and if that's true, I'll report it. But I'm not going to carry water for this administration. And based on the misinformation that Kash Patel knowingly put out after the Charlie Kirk shooting, being cautious is the only responsible move here. Why am I so good at this? Should I be the only person doing news now? I'm going to be the only person doing news. $10 million a year or I walk. In a post on his ironically named Truth Social, where all legitimate government policy is announced now, I guess, President Trump laid out his plans for new tariffs set to take effect on October 1st. They include 25% for heavy trucks. Every truck is a heavy truck if you think about it. 50% for, quote, all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products, end quote. 30% on upholstered furniture, and it's possible pharmaceutical companies could see tariffs of up to 100% based on whether or not they are building plants here in the States. So there we go. Surprise tariffs announced on a website that was created after the President of the United States was kicked off Twitter because he invited people to the insurrection for which he was impeached. And I, for one, think that the founders would be excited to hear how things are going, and the inventor of the internet would be glad that they made it. And that's it. That's the news. Hey, speaking of the internet, Trump cleared yet another hurdle for the TikTok deal to go through. Not that TikTok was ever really in danger of it going away, but now it's in less danger, I guess, if you were worried. I know you were really worried. But there we go. I'm proud of breakfasts. I'm proud of breakfast. Eggs. Classic breakfast dish. Pancakes. Ooh, no, actually, waffles. Because you know how when you sometimes, they're just really good. I got excited about waffles, and I record this at night. I'm not going to have waffles tomorrow morning. I don't have the ingredients. What am I going to do? Now I'm disappointed. If you're new here to the show, I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about the whole episode I just recorded. If you're new here to the show, sometimes the episodes on Friday sound like someone who has been working all week and then come home to record also a whole podcast about the news. And so Monday's episode is going to sound like I slept over the weekend. So the vibe is a little bit more hinged than the episode today, unhinged. But because you stuck through it, and that's kind, frankly, and shows that you have patience. And you crack me up. But I don't know, I'm trying to tie it into eggs. You are protein. Nope, hang on. Because you feel like a Friday even on a Monday. You bring me the joy of a Friday even on a Monday. I'm proud of you.